Let's talk about MPLS, which should be an improvement over just going over the internet. So, imagine that we have a bunch of friends and or other companies, and if we pay them, they're going to allow us to use their network, and that's going to allow us to establish a private connection. And not only that, they're going to deploy these special network devices that can read these special labels that we're going to be putting on our packets to help them determine the most efficient route through the private network. We're going to call this MPLS. So here is our setup. We have our office, the other branch and data center. And instead of using the internet, we're going to establish that private network. Our friends are going to set up these special devices, which are going to be called LSRs, so label switch routers. And as packets enter the MPLS, see those little green boxes? It's going to apply that label, and now we know the most efficient route because that label basically says this is the end destination, and they go, okay, great, so you should take this route. And so that is in that case, and same over here. So now let's get into the technicals of MPLS. So MPLS stands for multi-protocol label switching, and it's a method of packet forwarding where instead of using IP addresses and layer 3 information to make forwarding decisions, an MPLS label is used to determine the shortest route to the end destination. And an MPLS is a private connection linking data centers and branch offices. So it's a private connection as in it's going across a network. It's not the data centers and branches office themselves, just clarifying that. MPLS is outsourced and managed by service providers. It's possible that you're setting up your own, but likely you're going to be paying somebody else to use their network, who guarantees network performance, quality, and availability. MPLS uses a special network hardware that combines both a router and a switch, and that's why it's called a label switch router. There's also an LER, which is what applies the label, but I'm not too worried about telling you about that. It's not a big deal. MPLS is efficient because the path of a label across the network will be predetermined, and that's called the label switch path. And an MPL label, the data itself is inserted between layer 2, layer 3. That's why you hear people call this an OSI layer 2.5 kind of thing. And it's going to put it in your packet, and they call that little thing they insert between layer 2 and 3 a shim. So why use MPLS? Well, it makes it really easy to establish private connections for your VPNs. You can do traffic engineering, so you can control how the packets traverse the network. You get quality of assurance. That means you get a guarantee of performance and availability for your packets. But what are the downsides? Because if this is so great, why would we need to use something else? Well, it gets really expensive because you are setting up all these special devices and stuff, and the larger network, the harder it gets. It's private, but it's technically not secure. So the thing is that this whole MPLS is just a routing mechanism. There's no inherent encryption. So that is another concern. And also with the rise of cloud services, you still have to traverse the internet in many cases, which we're going to find out with SD-WAN next. So let's get into that.